Further, Galip Dalay is a research director at Al-Sharq Forum and joins us now from Istanbul. Thanks very much indeed for being with us. So Turkey has promised retaliation against the Syrian regime after the death of its soldiers. What form might this take?
If we take the past couple of years as a precedent, probably Turkey will retaliate in one way or another if it firmly determines that it is the Syrian regime behind this attack, which it seems that it has already confirmed it. So therefore, yes, it is very likely that Turkey will retaliate to this attack, and this is likely to further escalate the tension.
Yeah, Damascus, of course, saying that Turkey's military operation is a breach of its sovereignty. So do you think we could see more attacks on Turkish soldiers?
Well, let's not forget Turkey is not in a Turkey is in a hostile terrain. On the one hand, it is facing the ISIS. On another hand, it is facing the Syrian regime, and it is also not enjoying good relations with the YPG, and it is facing each other with the YPG as well too. And that means that Turkey is very much exposed to any attacks of that kind from any side. Tomorrow it can be from the ISIS, the next day it can be from the Syrian regime. So therefore, given the fact that it is within a war-torn country and facing three different enemies, it is very vulnerable and it is exposed to that kind of attacks.
But if there is an escalation in direct confrontations with the Syrian regime, is that going to raise tensions between Turkey and Russia? Russia, of course, an ally of Bashar al-Assad?
Well, it is likely Turkey will do its best for the matters not to get out of the hands. But given the fact that Russia is one of the primary patrons of the Syrian regime, along with Iran, the action of the Syrian regime will not be read just within the context of the Syrian regime itself, but it is also being read as some kind of action that is getting tacit support from Russia. And that will bode ill for the relation between Turkey and Russia.
But of course, as far as Turkey is concerned, Operation Euphrates Shield has been successful. Their control within the border is expanding, and they're now advancing on Al-Bab.
Well, it is advancing on Al-Bab, and right now Al-Bab, we are still to see whether ISIS will put a stiff resistance or not. And it seems that it's not going to be as easy as it used to be the previous operation when the Turkey first entered the Syrian and particularly cleared the border areas from the ISIS. So we will see whether ISIS will put up a very fierce resistance around the Al-Bab, or whether the ISIS will withdraw to put a resistance around the Raqqa, therefore not to put a very fierce resistance around Al-Bab. But now the price in Al-Bab is quite high because it is only 40 kilometers the east of Aleppo, and on the one hand, the Kurdish YPG also advancing, trying to reach this to take it as well. The Syrian opposition, with the backing of Turkey, is advancing on the Al-Bab. So we will see some kind of flare-up around the Al-Bab between all these three groups.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Galip Dalay there live from Istanbul.